Yes, sir. They just grow up so fast, don't they? Not fast enough. Gregory will now be talking a year from now. Look back on all this. Declan, you man. I imagine that it'll get to the point where they will want me to shut up. So, anyway, look at you. You're so handsome.
It's getting hot in here, so keep on all your clothes. We are getting so hot, we're gonna keep our clothes on. Okay, hello, wonderful and beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of The Rhodes Less Traveled. I am the kind and warm-hearted Declan Rhodes, and that is the stoic and gentle
Gregory Rhodes.
Yes, we are back and better than ever. So before we jump in today, my first kind of pre-question for you today is, what kind of made you want to be a firefighter?
Well, I don't know. Initially, I'd say probably because a guy I was working with at St. John's at the time, a friend of mine kept saying, "Gregory, you need to go try out for Springfield Fire Department." And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, you should." So
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it have anything to do with our fire when I was a kid, when I was 9? I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't have to place importance on something if there's not any there. Yeah. No, yeah, but I just definitely wanted to ask that before we kind of got started today. So this is something we've kind of lightly touched on a little bit. I don't think we've talked too heavily in depth about it, but yeah. So you were involved in a house fire when you were how old?
It was 79, so I was 8.
You were 8.
Yeah,
you would have been what, like 3rd or 4th grade?
Yeah,
maybe 2nd, something around that.
Yeah,
yeah. So kind of just to paint the picture, do you remember being woken up, or did you wake up to?
Well, I had just got home from school. It was a weekday, and I was in the bedroom. My mother was in the kitchen. Rita and Alexander was in another room. And Walter, I think Walter was in the same room I was in, but I was watching the Flintstones on TV.
I love that you remember.
I was watching the Flintstones, and Mama came out of the kitchen and said, "Do y'all smell smoke?" And I was like, "No, I didn't smell any smoke." And she went back in. And then it was probably wasn't 5 minutes, because the house we lived in, it just had 4 large rooms.
Yeah.
Living room, 2 bedrooms, and a kitchen. And it was straight. There was no turning. But anyway, we heard some like popping and crackling, and turned around and looked towards the front of the house. And we saw smoke and fire, and Mom came running and said, "We got to get out of here." Well, they started grabbing things to try to take things with them. And Rita, Alex had got out. Walter had got out. It was just me and Mom. And by the time we was making it to the front of the house to get out, we couldn't get out that front door. So I remember the fire department, they were busting the front window, knocking it out, and stepping
So they were
in.
here at this point?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were here. I don't know who called them. Maybe the neighbors or something. But they were coming in that window and got me and my mom out. My mom had took her in a little smoke, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't even imagine as an 8-year-old. Was there a part of you that, maybe thought like this was it? Like you, I don't know how serious or, yeah.
No, I don't. No, everybody wanted to know. We were trying to figure out where did the fire start, and it started in the hallway, and that's where my mother's brother was. So.
Oh, your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle.
Oh, who's that?
Yeah.
Uncle?
Robert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But he lived with us. He was like, it is what it is. He was like the neighborhood bum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything but drink and get in trouble.
Yeah. So did they end up finding out how the fire started?
Yeah, it started where all his belongings were. He set them on fire.
He purposely set them on fire? Whoa! What? Oh my God!
I don't know if he was mad or angry at somebody or what, but yeah.
So he had set his stuff on fire, and then I guess left.
Yeah, and left. Yeah, he
was
nowhere around. Robert was nowhere around when the police and the fire department was there.
So he was. Was he trying to kill you all?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh! So did they end up ever finding him?
No,
they never found him.
I mean, I guess at some point they did, but I don't know what came of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know how much later they found him, but eventually they did.
During that week, because we were at that point we were dispersed out to other family members and stuff to stay because we had no place to stay.
Yeah. So where did you stay?
We stayed. Mama, myself, Walter, and Alex, which was Rita's son, my sister's child. We all stayed at my mom's sister house. Her name was Georgie.
Georgia.
Georgia. We stayed at her house in like a back room. It was a place to stay, but it was like, really, this is how you treat your sister and your nephews?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then Rita, she stayed next door to Georgia. Her daughter, Georgia's daughters lived next door, and that's where Rita stayed. But Alex stayed with us. That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you guys are around the same age, correct? Your nephew?
Alex and I are a year apart. He's a year older
than you.
Yeah. And then Betty went to live down the street from our house, our original house on Newberry. She stayed with the Mr. and Mrs. Cox. They owned a boarding house deal.
Yeah. So I guess how was it kind of? Did your mom kind of make the decisions of where everyone was going, or was that just kind of? I'm assuming Betty at this point would have been old enough, kind of to have been like, "This is what I'm doing."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long you stayed with them for?
Ooh, that whole summer.
Okay, so this was like toward the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
Summer of
79.
79?
Yeah, summer of 79. So, it took forever for them to rehab that house, the landlord to rehab that house. But yeah, all summer, and we were still living with my aunt in the fall too.
Yeah.
Of that year, yeah.
So the fire, was it big enough did it cause any like serious damage to your guys' things and belongings or property?
Oh yeah, we lost everything because by the time it was that fire had pushed back into the 2 bedrooms and a kitchen, it was a total loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything specific you lost that?
Just my clothes. I mean, your favorite pants or shirt or whatever that was gone.
Yeah.
And now you had to look for, from the Red Cross and from other family members,
Yeah.
clothes. Yeah.
What did the rest of that summer kind of look like for you? So you're staying in a new place,
Right.
crammed. It sounds like with your mom,
Yeah.
nephew, and was there another mom, nephew, you,
And Walter.
your other sibling?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did that kind of look like for you? Were you?
It was really dreary. It
Yeah.
was, like I said, we were in one room in that house, and it was like we couldn't go anywhere else in that house.
Yeah.
It was because my mother's sister lived there with her husband, and it was just weird. But yeah, we had to stay in that one house. That one room. The only time we came out of that room was to use the bathroom or eat.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. It was just like you felt like you were with family, but you didn't have any freedom.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
This is a good question, just in terms of keeping track of people. How many siblings did your mom have?
My mom had
There was Aunt Georgia, Gold.
I think my mother had six or eight siblings, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was them because it was the girls. It was Georgie, Tennessee, Hattie Mae, Lucille. Then there was Robert, Al, and somebody else. Maybe 67, I
Yeah.
think.
And do you remember about where your mom fell in line, order wise?
My mom was the second to last.
Second to last. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar to you, almost
Yeah.
being the youngest. So okay, yeah, those are. So have you met all your aunts and uncles on your mom's side?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So you knew about Uncle Tom? What was his name? The one that set the fire?
Robert.
Yeah.
Uncle
Because
Robert.
he
Lived with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Aunt Georgia.
Yeah.
Did you meet any of the other ones?
Tennessee. I knew Aunt Tennessee. I knew Aunt Lucille.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I remember hearing talk about her, but I didn't. I don't recall that I ever met my Aunt Hattie Mae.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know if any of them are still alive?
Georgie's dead, deceased. Lucille's deceased. Tennessee's deceased. I want to say Hattie Mae is still alive. And then I want to say she's the only one that's still alive.
Yeah. So kind of, going back to what that summer looked like, were you able to go hang out with other kids, or were you pretty much confined to that room?
Yeah, we was confined to that room in that house, because we was in another neighborhood. We wasn't in the neighborhood that we originally grew up in, and it was just it's just a bad deal. I mean, we had a roof over our head, but it was a real bad deal. Look, again, like I said in the earlier podcast, I stewed over stuff more so than those teachers' comments, stuff like that. I stewed over because I'd be like, how can you treat your sibling like this? Or your sister and her kids. And I'm thankful for a roof over my head they gave us, but if it really was that they didn't really want us there or whatever, I would rather them have said that at the beginning. Hey, we don't have a place for you guys.
Yeah.
Versus, yeah, you can stay here, but you're going to stay in this room. You can't come out of this room unless you're eating or going to the bathroom. And my mother paid them rent.
Yeah.
It was just, I stewed over that and remember that very vividly.
Yeah.
Even to this day.
Gosh, that sounds really hard. So I guess while you're in the room, you guys are just either chilling or I mean, there's like not necessarily phones or anything at this point to play with or anything. Do you remember any specific activity playing with Walter, or do you guys just talk, or would you sleep a lot, or?
We talk. We look out the window at the other kids out playing.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's.
I can't.
It's dreary. It was like we were captives.
Yeah.
It sucked. I wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
And my mom wanted to too. She was like, the landlord. She was like, Mr. Spencer don't have to fix it, or he can fix it up while we're in there. And they were like, no, it's uninhabitable, our house. And,
yeah.
But yeah, we very early on, everybody just was sensed like, man, we don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Because we're not. It was as if we wasn't welcome.
Yeah. Do you think it was more your mom or her sister that was not letting you go out and play with these other kids?
Ooh, man, you got good questions. I
try.
It was more of her sister's husband through her sister, and a little of my mother.
I guess I don't understand why. If they really didn't want you there, you would think they would be like, go find something to do.
Right. Exactly. But that's how the weird nuances and the traditions of black families.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I mean, again, I'm thankful that they gave us a roof over our head.
Yes.
But
yeah.
It was, again, like I say, all I can remember, or not all I can remember, I just very distinctively remember it was like we were prisoners in our family's home.
Ugh, that sounds gross. I'm sorry you went through that. Yeah. So obviously you were with your mom and Walter and your nephew. Yeah. Did you see Betty the rest of that summer, or was she just kind of doing her own thing?
She was doing her own thing, but her boyfriend at the time had a vehicle, and so they would come over periodically.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her and her kids, Tanika, Shireen, at the time. Yeah. I remember, and seemed like they were doing good, and they definitely had more freedom than we did.
Yeah.
And Rita would come back. Rita would go back over to the street we lived on, and she would be hanging out with her friends or whoever. Yeah. Or go see Betty then.
Yeah. About how far was this new place you were staying at from the house?
Probably 10 miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, something else I should ask and point out. I don't necessarily have I been to this house before?
Which house?
The one you lived in.
Yeah, yes. you were a baby.
Okay, so I don't necessarily remember a lot of stuff.
No.
For people listening, I guess we should kind of paint more of a picture. It's not really a house, right? It was kind of like almost an apartment or complex, sort of.
No, it was a house. It was it had an upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
We were on the downstairs. We rented, and then another couple rented the upstairs. Elderly couple.
Okay.
But it was like a row houses. Or they call them shotgun houses. I see on like HGTV. You walk in the front door and you can look straight down to the back and see the back door, and it was just all in line.
Oh, okay.
They call them shotgun houses. So
okay.
But yeah, so it had you walked in the front door and you immediately turned, or you were in to the right of the front door. You were in the living room.
Yeah.
And then that room connected to another room, which was the bedroom, and off that bedroom was the only bathroom, and then another bedroom in front of that, and then the kitchen. It was just 4 big rooms.
Yeah. So the dreary summer of '79 passes. A little bit into there was a dog. It's okay. Do not be alarmed. So the summer passes, you're into the fall a little bit, staying still with your aunt. Do you remember the day that you went back to the original house, or around that kind of time?
Yeah,
what
it
that
was
like.
It was the spring of 80.
Oh, so you you were there from practically the rest of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you moved back in 80.
Yeah.
1980. What do you remember what that was kind of like? Were you excited? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
probably
we
excited to get out.
Yeah, we were very excited to get back into our house. Just the freedom.
Yeah.
Just the freedom to move about.
Yeah.
But and then we had got some furniture and stuff. But yeah, it was good times moving back.
Yeah.
And
Did everyone come back?
yeah,
Betty?
it was funny. Rita obviously came back, and Betty came back like probably she was still with her boyfriend for a few years. Then she came back when she was getting ready to have her third child, and her boyfriend went to prison. So yeah.
Yeah.
So she came back. Instead of staying with it was his grandparents who they were staying with.
Okay.
She came back home and stayed.
Yeah. So now it's your mom and all the 6 kids again.
What 6 kids?
You, Betty.
Oh, okay.
Rita.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah,
you and all the siblings and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Betty and Rita were the only one. Dale was not there.
Oh, okay.
Carolyn was not there.
Oh, where were they at this point?
Well, Carolyn was in Mississippi.
Oh, that's right. She had moved at this point.
Yeah, she was long gone. And then Dale was in a group home.
Yeah.
He was in a group home, and then but me, Betty, Rita, and Walter.
Yeah.
Was there.
Now Dale, do you remember about how old he would have been around this in 1980?
He would have been. Dale would have been in his 20s.
Okay. Was there a specific reason he was in a group home?
Yeah. There was an incident that happened that this was either I was too little to remember or I was not born yet. But there was an incident that happened with Dale and one of my mother's siblings, boys. I can't do it justice, but something happened and Dale was dropped on his head when he was younger, and so ever since then he was not right, so to speak. That's what the terminology they used back then.
Yes. Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, he was mentally retarded after that.
Yeah.
And so he stayed with my mom, and he was living with my mom. But then, as he got older and bigger, his outbursts and his violent attempts to where they had to put him in a state home.
Yeah.
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 So and I don't remember ever seeing any of that. I just remember my other sisters and aunts talking about it. Lucille and Georgie talking about Dale and your mom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. And then just in terms of addressing the audience, we just want to make sure we know that that is outdated terminology, but was unfortunately used back at the time.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Mental retardation. Right.
Yeah. So after you guys kind of came back in the spring, well, I guess what did that kind of look like? I mean, you're still in school, obviously. I mean, did the other kids ask you about it or talk to you about it? Was it something you remember being a hot topic? I mean, I guess it had happened almost just the fire.
The fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people would ask us about it in the neighborhood, but I think the neighborhood was kind of glad because they had a break from the Rhodeses.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I think, especially the next door neighbors, I think they were thinking that we weren't coming back.
Who were they?
Yeah, the Starks.
The Starks.
Yeah.
Did you guys get along? I'm assuming not necessarily.
Well, we didn't not get along, but all the interactions, or when they'd see us, it was like they were looking down their nose at us.
Yeah.
Because that they were better than us.
Yeah. Did they have any kids?
Yes, they did.
Do you remember how many?
Yeah, Kyle, Kimberly, and I forget the other kid's name. Cassie. Cassie, Kimberly, and Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there maybe a particular reason you think they kind of saw themselves as higher above?
Well, because their parent worked, had a good job, and they were all lighter than us. That's a whole nother topic in the black community.
Lighter skin.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were all lighter.
So were both the parents mixed, or they just were lighter?
They were just lighter. Yeah.
Okay.
They were
okay.
Like the complexion. The
Yeah.
black complexion has such a wide range of tones.
Yes.
And
it does.
yeah, they were much lighter than us, and their parents worked. They went on welfare. Cops didn't come to their house the first month of every month. The first.
It's crazy to think that even we think about racism within white, black, Asian, Hispanic, but even within the own black community.
Oh, good night.
Of lighter skinned people.
Oh, good night. Yes,
being
sir.
treated differently than
Yes,
darker
sir.
skinned people.
Oh, absolutely.
And so what are some of your thoughts on that? I mean, just even from the Starks that you knew, and maybe some like other kids.
That's one of the things we got to fix ourselves first.
Yeah.
And that might offend some black people, but it is what it is. We got to fix ourselves first because, it is very prevalent in the black race and the community that you're treated differently by the tone of your skin.
Yes.
Because like in our family, I was the darkest. My mother was lighter than me.
Out of all of you?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Walter was lighter than me. Alex, even though we weren't siblings, we were nephew. He was lighter than me. I was the darkest one, and there was always a connotation that went along with that, especially when I was being chastised or I was doing something. There was a certain phrase used for me. So
what was it?
You black bastard. Yeah. So
which I mean obviously has almost and
this is your own
double
color, your own family.
Yeah, your own family calling you that. And I mean that also obviously just has kind of the double meaning. Obviously the word bastard being a cuss word, but also not having a father around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember even as I was older. So we're talking about, I remember very distinctively, especially because I was in scouts and going to camp. I had just got so tired of, Gregory, being referred to that, and the dark one. I used to take Comet, the cleanser, Comet, and scrub my knees and elbows because they were so dark, and thought that I could lighten them up.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Do you remember how old you were when you did that?
Yeah, I was like 13.
13.
Yeah.
And so what is this again? You said it's Comet?
Comet, Comet. It's a scouring cleanser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you literally were trying to lighten yourself.
Yep.
Was there a reason you put it on your knees and elbows?
Because my knees and elbows was dark.
The darkest part.
Yeah, so I start there.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Did you know any other kids that did that?
I knew kids that tried to scrub themselves with bleach.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To lighten themselves up.
To lighten themselves, yeah.
Because they were the darker and looked down upon.
Yep.
Wow. I just can't imagine, because like that doesn't happen in a white household.
No, it doesn't.
That does not happen. And the kind of lasting psychological damage that can do, physical damage as well, it's just insane. That's insane. And it's heartbreaking to hear. And I see your comment about we need to fix ourselves first. I think I'm understanding what you mean in saying that we need to address the racial inequalities we have within our own group.
Oh, absolutely.
Before we can fully talk about what's going on between other races,
Right.
And it's just sad that, I mean, there have been studies and stuff done. You might have seen these or heard of. They're very old. Of kids looking at a series of dolls, all different skin shades, and the kids being asked questions of who's the smarter doll, who's the prettier doll, who's the uglier doll, who's the bad doll, and it's very clear that obviously those racist thoughts and stuff, that's learned behavior. But yeah, even when asked the black kids, they will say the white doll is prettier, better, fill in the blank, or the darker blackest doll is the worst or the bad. And that it really does start from an early age, and it can be a hard thing to break and to unteach yourself, to unlearn that behavior. God, wow. So you were the darkest of all of your siblings. Would you say you were the darkest of all your friends as well, your friend group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some other kids who had my complexion, but not as dark as I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you think being darker, well, not only being darker, being the darkest amongst people you were surrounded by, but also being premature, so kind of smaller, almost, I called myself a runt, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Of the family and friends. That obviously just psychologically and physically kind of places you on the outside of this circle everyone else seems to be in.
Exactly.
How do you think that kind of impacted your thoughts as a kid and like how you view yourself today? Just in terms of viewing yourself on the outside and always being an outsider. What does that kind of look like?
I think it's funny you ask, not funny, but just the more I thought about this and everything what's going on in our society today with Black Lives Matter and the racism and inequality, just I never allowed myself to be seen as a victim. I never. Yeah. Never. No matter what, how many times I was called little black bastard to the point where I thought that was my name. Seriously.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that this not again, don't feel sorry for him. I'm just saying you heard it so much from your own family members and your mom, your siblings, your cousins, anyway. But I never, and the deal with Mrs. Robinson saying what she said back in 7th grade, the way I look at it is I never allow myself to feel like a victim. Because the minute I feel like a victim or thought I was a victim, somebody has done something to me and they need to undo it. Yeah. So for me, it was going to be like I had to fix me or I had to make sure myself was right. Yeah. And so I never allowed myself to be a victim. All I took is that negativeness, that hatred. Let's just say what it was, hatred. Yeah. And I turned it in to a force that, you know what, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And so again, it was not, I never sought out to make myself be better than somebody or I'm going to be better than you. No, it's just, I'm going to show you that I'm somebody. I count. I matter. Yeah. So and I did that religiously from like I said, from an early age when I realized that I was not getting the positive feedback, encouragement from my family and people that I should have been. Yeah. I just thought, man, I'm going to prove them wrong.
Yeah. You had to. It's how you survived. Yeah. I think what's so fascinating about one of the many things fascinating about you is your determination, and just the fact that, I mean, there are so many people who, and this is not a problem, it is what it is, that can skate through life, and everything can be handed to them and provided. Again, that's not a problem. Right. Parents want to do what's best for the kids.
That's right.
And at the same time, you came from such, I'll call it a broken home.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
A rough beginning. And you, despite all of that, still wanted to do what was right for you and what was best for you. And I just think that's so fascinating, because there are so many people who in life I've met and I've seen who don't necessarily learn how to grip that level of work ethic or determination or courage, and you still did. I just think that's really cool, and that's very, I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to your story. And I mean, you can even, just looking at your life is, I don't know, just a theme of just to keep going, to keep pushing, no matter what. Being born premature, having the braces, having this house fire, every other little thing that has happened, and you've similarly to a lot of the Black population, you've learned to be the bigger person. You've learned to just kind of accept that some things are the way they are, but you were going to be in control of your own destiny.
Yeah. That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
So kind of going back to this roundabout springtime after the fire. So we kind of already talked about the community around you is kind of glad you guys were gone for the time being. When you guys came back, was there any kind of pushback or negativity you saw that?
Well, again, I was never a part of this, being a child, but my mom and Rita would come in, and they would come in and be fired up. But I guess some of the neighbors, like the Starks and other neighbors around, was like, okay, you guys are back. You can't continue how you've been doing. Cops coming out every first of the month.
Yeah.
You guys out there drinking beer on the front porch, falling all over yourselves, spilling whiskey bottles in the yard. You guys cannot do that again. You guys got a fresh start now, a fixed up house, and you guys need to act sensible. Because Rita and my mother would come in and they would be arguing and cussing, like, who the hell do they think they are, telling me what I need to do and what I don't need to do and stuff like that. But so, I gathered that people in the neighborhood had said something to them. Yeah. Nothing was ever said to me, or as far as I know, us kids, but it was said to the adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I can't imagine. And it's just, again, being a kid and just witnessing all that. I mean, kids are smarter than we could give credit for.
Oh, absolutely.
They're like these little fascinating little sponges that will suck up everything around them.
Oh, absolutely.
So and it's just crazy to think. I mean, you were carrying that for so long, just these ideas of what people had about your siblings, and unfortunately got carried onto you. And I mean, obviously, no one asks necessarily to be born or to be given what they are in life, and it just happens. Gosh, that's insane. That's crazy. So the fire was done and over with. So would you say, did you see any kind of change from your siblings or mom as far as not always having the cops come in the first couple days of the month, or?
No, and I mean it wasn't right back in your face.
Yeah.
It was, but by the end of that summer, by the end of the summer of not 80, it was old times again. Yeah. But now that summer, after school was out, that spring, I went down the street to, it was a neighborhood grocery store, like we call them confectionery stores or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I asked the lady, did she need any help? And she said, sure. Helping stock the shelves, or help her husband with watermelons. They were selling, different things, take out trash, whatever. But so I went to work for the Robinsons.
The Robinsons.
The summer of 1980, when I was 9 and a half.
That was your first job.
That was my first job. I went to work for the Robinsons, making $10 a week, and I did that from 1980 to 1988.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So you're like 17.
Yeah.
All through school, basically.
Yeah.
Did you have any other jobs alongside that, or was that pretty much your main thing?
That was pretty much my main job in school.
Yeah.
I should say. Well, I say 88. Because when I turned 16, I went to work at National Supermarket, so I take that back. But I was still helping Miss Robinson on the side. But yeah, full time, I was full time there from 1980 to 87, I think.
Yeah. So you started at $10 a week.
And ended at $10 a week.
You ended at $10 a week.
And I was doing way more than I started. Yep.
So was that just because, were they taking advantage of you?
Oh, they took advantage of me.
That's sad.
Yeah,
I was going to root for these guys.
They took advantage
Damn,
of me.
I was rooting for them.
No, they took it. They were good. I mean, it kept me off the street, kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
But man, I was there during the summers. I was there from 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. They closed.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And when school started back in the fall or the spring, I would go help her open the store at 7 o'clock. I would leave at 7:30 to go to school. When I got home from school at 3:30, I was there at 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock. They closed. And I did that from 1980 to 1987. Made $10 a week when I started and when I ended there.
So I'm assuming.
And I did a lot. I was doing, by the time I left there, I was doing home deliveries. Little ladies or elderly people could call and order their groceries, and take their groceries to them either on my bike or walking, mostly walking, anywhere from a mile out from that store. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And I was cutting their grass, cutting the neighbor's grass.
Oh my gosh.
Under the leadership of Mr. Robinson. Yeah. Oh yeah. I did it all.
That is.
Yeah.
That's. Gosh.
Yep.
One, go you. I'm very proud of you. Two, that's just sad that they. Did you ever ask about a raise or?
No, I didn't.
That's okay. I mean,
yeah.
I probably understandably also wouldn't have. Again, just being a young child and just wanting to appease adults.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Were they nice?
They were nice, but I knew my place.
Were they black?
Yeah, they were black.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you, I guess, mean by that?
That they were nice. They had given me a job, kept me from getting in trouble, because I could have been running the streets, I guess, according to them and my mom and whoever else. But that they were Robinsons, and they were better than my family because he worked. Mr. Robinson had a very good job. He worked for St. Joseph's Institute for the Deaf up in St. Louis, and Miss Robinson manned the store. I knew my place, I guess. Yeah.
So this is like 1980 through 87. I'm assuming they didn't have you like, were W-2s like a thing at this point and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I didn't fill out that.
You didn't fill that stuff out?
I didn't do that stuff. No, because I was under the age of 16.
Okay. Yes, that's right. So it was kind of like almost an allowance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So no taxes or anything.
No, but I stocked shelves. I delivered watermelons. I delivered groceries. Like I said, I was cutting the grass, their grass, their neighbor's grass. I I was cleaning the store, cleaning the bathrooms at home.
Yeah.
I was doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could say anything to both of the Robinsons, either Miss or Mister, if they are still with us,
No,
okay.
they're both passed.
If you could say anything to them, what do you think you would say?
I'd say thank you for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thankful for that. But shame on you, how you took advantage of me. Because they pretty much became my mom and dad, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean you were there so much.
Yeah, exactly. And there was some chastising moments that I felt that was inappropriate that Mr. Robinson did. But
like trying to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
Like, did anything stick out specifically?
Well, he had nice cars. He had nice vehicles.
Yeah.
And he would come when he get off. He had an old work truck, but he had like a nice Delta 88, and he'd pull it up by the store, and it was nice shiny blue, and everybody would see it, know who the car was. The kids would come around and look, and it would be friends, buddies that I'd hang out with, maybe, when I could have a little break from the store, and they were around his car, and I guess he thought they was going to scratch it or mess with it or whatever. So one evening when the kids had left and he came out of the store to go home, he grabbed me by my chest like this and chastised me for having my friends around his car. Those little bastards, they better not scratch my car or anything. And I'm thinking, dude, who am I? You're the adult. If you don't like them around your car, you could have easily walked out of your store and said, hey, you guys need to get your ass on.
Yeah. Or
something. But like that. And then I remember that very distinctively. And then the last incident I remember that really pissed me off but hurt me. I had went home at noon to help my mom do something. Mm-hmm. And I did it. When Mrs. Robinson called for me to come back, I headed on back down there, but I guess my mom told her I didn't do anything, or I was doing something else. I don't know why she would.
Gosh.
So when I got down there, she said, when James gets home, that was his name, Mr. Robinson, James. When James gets home this evening, he's going to talk to you because your mom said you needed talking to, and it was not a fun time. And so
he just yelled at you.
Oh yeah, and cursed and grabbed me, like I said, and it was. I was kind of fed up at that time because I was just like, my mom. I'm like, what did she tell them, and why did she tell them? I didn't, because I came home and worked clean and did what she said. But
did you ever ask her?
Huh?
Did you ever ask her?
No, because I didn't that day because she was drinking.
Yeah.
But it just really pissed me off and hurt me because I was like, man, here I'm trying to do right and I just feel like I'm everybody's punching bag. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have other workers that you worked with, or was it just you?
Yes. The little girl that lived across the street from the store, Karen, she helped them a little bit. My nieces, Tanika helped them. Calvin helped them, but nobody worked like I did. They would let them do something, and they would think it was going to grow on to something they keep working for. Nobody did what I did. It's just in the history of that store, they even said it. They would even brag about it that, at times that nobody works hard as Gregory. Yeah.
See, and it's like, I just wish they were able to, in the time, respect that and compensate you enough for that.
Yeah.
Were the other kids also paid? I mean, obviously it didn't stick, but
oh yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And so you had this job, which also should be noted that, again, that's another thing that, like, you had a job at 9 years old.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you were doing at least part-time work, if not full-time during the summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. Did the Robinsons have any kids?
Yeah, they had older kids, and but they didn't live with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't work in the store?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
What, if there's anything you can take away from that first job experience, it be good or bad, what would you say you could take away?
Again, I have to say, because I don't know, my mom kept a tight leash on me, but I think me working there did keep me from running the streets, getting in trouble like the other kids was, or just being up to mischief or getting in serious trouble. So I really am thankful for that. I'm thankful for what I got to do there, because it made me who I was even more as I grew up. Because I knew the value of a dime, let alone the value of $10.
Yeah,
I knew the value of hard work, what it means to, seriously work hard. That when you get home, you could, if you sat down or lay down, you fall asleep right there.
Yeah.
So I am very thankful for those things. I'm thankful for for those resources that, those physical and mental resources that I learned there while working for Mr. and Mrs. Robinson. Yeah. So I am thankful for that.
Yeah. Making $10 a week. So where did that money go?
Funny you should ask, because I didn't even get to keep the money. She kept it in a coffee can at the store for me. So she'd pay me my $10 on that Saturday morning, and then she'd take it and say, "Okay, I'm going to put it in your tin can," because I was saving for whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Well, eventually I bought my clothes.
Okay.
They take me shopping. I bought my
The Robinsons
clothes.
would.
Yeah, well, Mrs. Robinson would. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice.
Yeah. It was.
Well, I guess if you had been given it, do you think you would have spent it? Or you seem like we both save. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have saved it to the lengths that I did there, because again, 9-10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But I would have saved some of it. But again, 2020 hindsight, they did it. It was the best thing, I guess, because I had a lot of money when I went school shopping.
Yeah.
I was able to buy my own clothes.
That's
From then on.
Where did you go to like a thrift store or
where did you? Ventures was the big store up in St. Louis, one of the big Grandpa Pigeons, Ventures, Kmart. Yeah.
Do you remember how much money when she finally gave it to you all? Do you remember how much you had?
The first time when we went school shopping that fall of 1980, I had over $160.
Woo!
Yeah.
I bet as a kid, I just imagine as a kid that sounds like so much money.
Oh, good night.
That sounds like,
because I was rich.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but I had over $160.
Yeah.
Because what started happening is when I would deliver groceries or take a watermelon to somebody, they would give me a tip. Yeah. And so I don't know, I didn't pay attention really, because I had to give my tip to her to put away for me too. And so I always wondered on those Saturdays, was she paying me the full $10, or if I got a $5 tip, was she just paying me $5? Yeah, because she made sure they were saying, don't you ask anybody for a tip, or don't you? And I was like, I didn't. They just gave it to me, and she'd call and check on me. I'd be sitting up there in front of the store. I hear her in the back, did he ask you for any money and stuff?
Oh gosh, I eventually through this series, I just hope we can get to someone who, I know we will, because there are many people who believe in you and believe in what you do and who you are, and
the Thompsons.
So kind of finishing it out, final thoughts on thinking back to the fire happening, what do you think more good came from it, more bad, kind of neutral? Because it sounds like things kind of just returned back to normal.
Right.
I don't know if, I mean, I'm assuming the uncle did not come back after you guys had moved.
No,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
Robert did not come back.
Yeah.
Alex and I, my nephew, Rita's son,
Yes.
who was living with us, who mom practically raised, my mother practically raised, him and I thought things were going to be better, that we weren't, because it was always embarrassing when they were out there, because then the neighbors, and then when we're walking to school with these kids, we're all walking to school together or whatever, we're out playing, and they make comments about the Rhodes family, your mother or your sister or your mom and sisters. It was just embarrassing. And so we were hoping it was going to be better, but it, like I said, by the end of the summer, it was back to familiarity with them.
Yeah.
So, it was what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something you're able to look back on now and recognize what it did and how it impacted you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What's something you're looking forward to in the near future?
Well, OA with Aiden here in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to finishing these cornhole games with McKenna.
Yeah.
And looking forward to where this podcast going to go.
Yeah. I keep getting lots of people talking about it, and
Yeah,
they're
me too.
excited. Good. Spread the word.
Yep.
Something I'm looking forward to. Just continue to trying to decorate the house I'm in now, with help of my roommates. Yeah. I think that is about it. I didn't do this last time, and I need to start remembering to do it. But follow us. We are on Facebook at The Rhodes Less Traveled. Remember, that is Rhodes, Rhodes, traveled with one L, not two. We are on Instagram at _Rhodes_less_traveled_, because I guess the Rhodes Less Traveled is already taken. Don't know why. We are also on TikTok at the Rhodes Less Traveled. You can find us on that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for continuing to listen and hear my father's stories and experiences and knowledge that he can pass on to hopefully you guys and the next generation. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming along with us and journeying down the roads less traveled. Bye, guys.
Take care.